Hey, I am the Greg, one of the hosts of the Greg and Dave Show. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Ezekiel Drews, host of Podcast, a Star Wars story, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Podcast, a Star Wars story, where we talk about anything and everything Star Wars. A new show comes out bi-monthly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Podcast, a Star Wars story. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hello everyone, it is #NoFilter Friday here again on Public House Media. I'm trying to get my new phone to get down with our struggle here, but this doesn't seem really to be working. I don't know. Hey, let me move the light really fast. I dropped it a little bit low. There. Ooh, look at that. Okay, that's a little bit more exciting. So, this evening on #NoFilter Friday, we're going to talk about sexual harassment at music festivals and new policies at the studio and network level. So it all ties together. It makes sense, I promise. Any hoozles, let's take a second and share this broadcast. That way we have some time and have some more folks come and join us and they can join the discussion because, again, I could do this as just a series of videos and post them, but that's not as fun. You've got to be kidding me. And this is why I try not to do the show on my phone. Any hoozles, open. Chase, what's that? Facebook. See if we can't find our broadcast. And keep it pushing. So I think it's worth sharing and getting this going, getting it going. Oh, hello, person that came in. I don't know who it is, but hello. Leave me a comment or something so I can see that you're around. It's Lauren Vale. Hello, Lauren Vale. How are you? Ugh, this is taking forever. There it goes. Okay, perfect. We can share it, and it will be more fun. Share. It's that simple. The delay between my phone and my laptop is crazy. It's just supposed to share. There it goes. It's supposed to be going. It's going. Oh, no, not sharing is Public House Media. Come on. Here we go. Sharing a page you manage. I just want to share on my timeline. This is too much. Not terrible. That's good. Not terrible is better than most people. Be happy. Okay. And we're sharing. We're growing. We're sharing. It's wonderful. So, this morning, maybe not necessarily this morning, the story broke a couple days ago, but it got a lot of heat today, was the Teen Vogue people went to Coachella and they recorded being, not recorded, but documented, that's a better word for it, being hate job hunting, don't we all? So, the Teen Vogue people went and they kind of recorded being sexually assaulted 55 times over the course of Coachella, which doesn't, it doesn't surprise me because it's been happening at a lot of music festivals in Europe, in that it's made its way to craziness here, I think is kind of ridiculous. But Twitter has exploded with this story, and it's like a trending topic right now because of all of the things that have happened. And the great thing about Twitter is that the back and forthness, like you can see what people are posting and reposting, like what's getting higher on the pile, what's getting thrown by the wayside. It's really, really interesting. That's the only social platform that really does that. Take action on action films. That's really silly. Okay, so let's search Coachella. Or Coachella sex, perhaps. And see what comes up on Twitter. I was reading it this morning and it was just painful to read. Deadpool, Billboard. I think we need to get more specific. Coachella. Sexual assault. That's a really fun thing to search on Twitter. Okay, so here we go. Dig posted a good situation of it. Oh, my damn everything. Okay, so let me turn the camera around really fast so you can see what I'm talking about. Ah! So far! Alright. Sexual harassment was rampant at Coachella 2018. And from Teen Vogue, this is the original story. And I will read it to you if you haven't seen it. So much stuff sitting around. Okay. I interviewed 54 women at Coachella, and they all said that they had been sexually harassed. Great. Wonderful. Trigger warning. This article contains multiple stories describing sexual assault. The annual Coachella Music Festival always promises a few things for my social media feeds. Selfies in front of Ferris wheels, an array of photogenic and overpriced foods, and extravagant pool parties that are somehow always hosted by Shay Mitchell. Shay Mitchell gets it in for Coachella. This year, thanks to an invitation from Safe, a sexual health app that lets you show your verified STD status. Wow, we're really getting in there these days. Have technology for everything. I experienced my first Coachella adventure over the course of the first weekend, and it exceeded expectations. Accidental sun-kissed naps on the lawn, forgetting to think about what I looked like while I was dancing, the mile-long zombie march to from the designated entrance to the actual entrance, bring cash and take a pedicab, and as one friend described it, running into people you didn't even know you knew. The lineup was incredible, the weather was milder than usual, so I'm told, and of course there was much discussed Coachella, which I can confirm was life-changing. It looked life-changing from the pictures. Just saying. Despite all of that, this year's Coachella experience was also full of moments I never saw on Instagram, being repeatedly violated by strangers. In the 3 days that I was at Coachella, I only spent a total of 10 hours at the actual festival, where I watched numerous performances and interviewed festival goers about their experience with sexual assault and harassment for Teen Vogue. During the 10 hours I was reporting on this story, I was groped 22 times! Wow! That's... Okay, so I got this actual article a little bit wrong up top, but 22 times! Okay. One guy followed me across the field to the Mojave stage where I was meeting a friend to see Fiddler. I'm probably saying that wrong. When my friend left to see another band, I stayed behind, and this guy came up behind me and whispered, "You're a goddess," and then rubbed his hand on my hips and butt. I knew it was the guy who followed me over earlier because I recognized his Pablo merch. Oh, that's nasty. I don't know which is worse. This is why I usually wear a backpack in concert settings. It forces distance between this stranger behind me and my body. On Saturday, I was front row at the outdoor theater, leaning against the metal grate to take an epic photo of David Byrne to send to my dad. Someone behind me grabbed grabbed my butt with both hands. I didn't see who it was, and I was felt so uncomfortable that I gave up my front row spot and moved to the back of the crowd where I would have more space behind me. Never got the picture. Then I was waiting in line for a sweet potato taco on Sunday. A man poked me in the stomach and asked me if I do Pilates. I said no, and he asked, what's the secret behind that six-pack? And rubbed my bare stomach with his hand. Wow. That's really weird, and I feel like he was rolling on something to be like... Of the 54 young women who spoke to Teen Vogue for this piece during the weekend-long event, all of them had a story of sexual assault or harassment that occurred this year at Coachella. Many of these accounts reveal patterns of predatory behavior harassers exhibited throughout the festival, and many reports I collected sound nearly exactly the same. Here are some of their stories condensed for clarity. Of course, sexual harassment happens here, said Anna, 19, and happens to us all at concerts. At Coachella, it is so many people that men will get away with touching you and think that we don't notice. It happens to me many times. It's happened to me many times already, and I notice every time. It never goes further than a touch on my butt or my back, but it's not okay. It's not an okay place to be touched. You would, said June 20th. Would you do that to a coworker or another guy? Then don't do it to me. This is my third day, and it probably happened to me 40 times this weekend. Ouch. In a really big crowd, you want to have a good time and you want to dance, said Phoebe, 20. It's just really uncomfortable to feel someone right behind you, touching you or rubbing you. It happened to me a lot at Post Malone. Yes, David Bobby. I actually thought similar to the same thing this morning. David Bobke suggested that it is crazy to say plant a few women trained in MMA at these events and give them permission to beat the holy crap out of anyone who grabs them. I dig it. Listen, I'm drop bows on them. That I feel like a couple broken noses would go a long way in people getting so handsy all the time. And I get that, when you're in close quarters, you end up knocking into somebody, but like reaching out and being like, is not, it's just not acceptable. Like, this shouldn't even, like, this is too basic of this is like kindergarten level etiquette manners. Like, this is not hard. Sexual misconduct is unfortunately a common experience at festivals, with one survey finding that more than 90% of female concert goers have been harassed at a music event. Harassed and assaulted are two different things. You need to quit interchanging this word. In 2015, a photo of a man wearing a vile Eat, Sleep, Rape, Repeat shirt. Oh, wow, that's classy. At Coachella went viral and a literal analogy for rape culture, which the Marshall University describes as an environment where rape is prevalent and sexual violence against women is normalized and excused. Keyword being excused. Not only did festival goers tell Teen Vogue multiple stories about older men preying on young women, but festival environment, I don't care how old you are when you do it, it's not right. It doesn't matter. When I was Christmas shopping, I found a little 4-year-old boy in my butt crack standing in line at Ross. It wasn't okay then, and it's not okay if he was 30 either. It's just not a thing. Hang on, let me scroll back home. Not only did festival goers tell Teen Vogue multiple stories about older men preying on young women, but a festival environment and setup feels like an invitation for men to behave this way, sometimes in groups. Do men see a woman's present at a music festival, particularly a dancing woman, as a substitute for consent? Apparently it does, but I don't think these guys care about consent, because if they cared about consent, they'd be like, hey, can I grab your butt? And most people would be like, no. Some people say yes. Hedonism in Jamaica exists for a reason. But they don't ask because she's probably going to say no. So they're just doing whatever they want anyway. It's actually happened a handful of times today, said Logan, 23. If you're in tight quarters and you're getting closer to the stage, guys will always come up and start grinding with you to see if you're into that sort of thing. They can try, but if you're like, bye-bye, then they need to go. As I was walking, a guy grabbed my butt cheek, said Anna, 27. This was sort of environment where I think people assume it happens a lot, so you can get away with participating in it. Bingo. That's a big part of it, too. Me and my friends were just dancing yesterday during the weekend set, said Aaliyah 21, a few guys came over and just poked us and started... Just poked us? How do you mean poke? Girl, you need to be more specific than that. And started dancing with us and wouldn't leave us alone. They kind of swarmed us. One was putting his face in our face, seeing if we would kiss him. But he went down the line, she continued. I think they think since we wear what we wear, they're entitled to touch us. That's just dirty. Guys, playing the numbers game has never been and never will be attractive. It's just not. You need to knock it off. Get some real game and don't let it seem monotonous. Pro tip for today. There have been a couple times where I've been stopped and a guy has been like, what are you doing? Come to my hotel. I said, well, yeah, they do that all the time. Said Ashley 21, they move a little too quick and are really aggressive. When you're not with your girls, there's a lot of potential for something dangerous to go down. We literally will not separate, and if we do, it's in groups so that no one's ever alone. Buddy system. You have to use that though, but even just two of you is almost not enough sometimes. Just the way people touch me when you're walking through a crowd. Why are you touching me there? Are you trying to have fun or fit in here? Said Reagan 16. 16, Lord. It's scary that you can't trust the random people around you to help you, and with those bigger men, it's just harder and scarier to say something to them because they might get angry and violent. Like, if you're not nice, they might hurt you. Well, she's 16 and she figured out how the world works. Good for her. Regan's experience was similar to my experience as well. The night before, I had been called a heinous bitch by a guy whom I declined to kiss on Saturday in the VIP section. She's not a bitch, she's a heinous bitch. That is hilarious. And she should be wearing that with pride. Like, yes, that's correct. Good for you. She should wear it as a name tag. In another instance, I was waiting in line for the bathroom and heard Tyler, the creator, start his set on the main stage behind me. A stranger walked up to me and said that he loved my leopard print suit. I thanked him, and then he proceeded to say he'd love to get in the bathroom stall with me. Like, I bet you would, buddy. When I told him not to talk to me like that, he explained, whoa, that's a lot of attitude for a no-name model. Nobody around me did anything to help. Well, I don't think you can help the fact that this guy's an idiot, but sure, why not? One of the difficulties of not having proper cell service is that it can be hard to find your friends. Generally, the only moments where I felt safe or comfortable throughout the weekends, so that means you have to rely on bystanders. Ooh, okay, so we're going to mark that on the things that music festivals can do. Hang on, I need my notes. I need my notes. Didn't think about that. That's going on the notes. Okay. I was standing in line for water, said Chantel 19. A guy picked me up and put me over his shoulder. I'm really small, so this happens to me a lot. Sometimes there are really great bystanders, and there will be guys who will say, hey, get away from her, and it's really cool when they do that. Incidents of sexual harassment at festivals are not limited to Coachella, of course. In 2014, according to the BBC, 2 men were arrested for allegedly raping a woman at the Reading Festival in England in 2016. Ooh, I remember this. The Washington Post reported that the attendees at Sweden's Bravalla Festival were given bracelets with a reminder, don't grope. We're going to come back to the Sweden thing in a minute. The bracelets were issued in response to several reports of alleged assault in the event. In 2017, the same festival's organizers said they would cancel the following year's event after more than 20 sexual assaults were reported. It had been the largest music festival in Sweden. In January, Polestar announced that Coachella continues to be the highest-grossing music festival in the world. Duh. Because it's ungodly expensive. In 2017, it grossed a record-setting $114,593,000. Sexual assault is known to be prevalent at music events, but like most music festivals, Coachella doesn't seem to provide sexual assault literature for the people attending. Because they're not going to read it, because they're high on Molly. And God knows what else. Shrooms alone. I don't think they're going to be reading sexual assault literature. And the thing is like, not like these people haven't been taught. Like, if you have made it to the adult phase of your life and you still don't grasp the concept that you can't just walk up and touch people, then I think you're behind. I think you're past pamphlets. Just saying. I could be wrong. I don't know. When I search the Coachella website for sexual assault, there's 0 results. Ooh! That's a big one, too. That one's also going in the notes. And then include the frequently asked questions section. Furthermore, every year, ticket buyers receive a wristband box, and according to several attendees, this year's box had a pamphlet about the festival which contained no information about how to get help if you were sexually assaulted. That is wrong. They need to remedy that. There are some groups that have tried to help, like UK's AIF Safer Spaces campaign, which encourages concert goers to intervene if they witness harassment taking place. In Chicago, home to Pitchfork and Lollapalooza, among other festivals, a sexual assault awareness campaign called Our Music, Our Bodies sprang up as a result of a collaboration between local nonprofit organizers between friends and rape victim advocates. Some festival organizers are listening. In 2017, Lollapalooza launched a safety page addressing its policy on sexual harassment at the festival. Do Lab, a Coachella collaborator, has provided training on sexual assault to fans and staff and provides on-site medical professionals who specialize in sexual assault at the 6-day festival Lightning in a Bottle. According to Los Angeles Times, despite all of this, overall culture still has a long way to go. Why, yes. Yes, it does. Music festivals are meant to be spaces for people to relax, make new friends, and enjoy music, but the harsh reality is that many people attend with the expectation that they will not be safe in these environments. Teen Vogue reached out to Coachella for comment and has not received response, and they're not going to. If you or somebody you know has been sexually assaulted, you can seek help by calling a National Sexual Assault Hotline, 800-656-HOPE-4673. For more resources on sexual assault, visit RAIN and Rape on Campus, Know Your 9, and the National Sexual Violence Resource Center. Seriously? It's craziness. But what's even more interesting than this article is if you're on Twitter, go search just go on Twitter and just go look at the feed of people commenting underneath this Teen Vogue story. And it will give you the most glorious / horrific picture of why this kind of stuff happens. Because people condone it. They're just like, oh, well, they were dressed skimpy, or everyone's drunk, or everyone's high, or whatever. Like, I think the same rule applies. Like, if you are on something, it doesn't matter what it is, and it impairs your driving, then you don't drive. Otherwise, you get in trouble because you can hurt someone. Like, if you can't handle whatever it is that you're on, then don't take it. That's your responsibility to not take it. Like, sunshine does not, like, if you're going to blame the sun for the fact that you can't not keep from grabbing people's crotches, then you should go live somewhere, go live in a cave where you belong. But the great thing about this article in particular, because a lot of articles are like, this is wrong, this is an outrage, this is terrible, and they don't really say anything about what to do about it. Which sucks, because you can't really control other people, but we can all step our game up. I think if these festivals, well, let me back that up. Festivals in Europe, like the bottom of this article talked about, have been having this problem for a long time. And I'm sure Coachella's been having this problem for a long time, too. Hi, Terry. What's up, Terry? Have been having this problem for a long time. And there's been a little bit of press about it, but not much. Bravalla in Sweden has gotten a lot of press for their, just overwhelming numbers of sexual assaults, and in some cases rape. And they did the whole no groping bracelets. It's kind of like the Lance Armstrong Live Strong bracelets, where they're like, don't touch me, which is going to do all of nothing, I don't think. And then there was some talk about them separating like, having different sections at the festivals for just girls or for just guys, which defeats the purpose of, like, it defeats the purpose of a music festival. Like, if you can't go with your group of friends and all be together or whatever, like, that's craziness. That's obscene. Like, what is the point of that? Of like, okay, see you guys later. You have to go stand on your side and we'll stand on ours? Like, come on. Like, if you're grown enough to be at a music festival, I feel like you should be able to stand in a crowd and, like, I don't know, not commit any crimes. Just saying, you know. But they do need to work on this cell service thing, though. Like, that's... Because even still, like, living on the hill, like, there's some people, you know, in some houses on the hill, like, you don't get cell service. You live in Bel Air? Forget it. You're gonna be stuck with your landline. But there's some people that, you know, they're like, hey, phone company, I need better than this. And they'll bring in like a little mini tower to their portion of the hill or whatever, and it works great. Where we live, our place actually rents out, we have these, like, little huts on our hill, that house equipment for Verizon and AT&T, I think. And those cell boosters, not only do they help keep our HOA fees down, they also make it so we can have cell service around here. Because if we didn't have it, like, it's like when the power goes out here, we don't get cell service either. It's crazy and it's horrible. So there's some, like, the phone companies can figure it out. They can bring down temporary equipment out to the desert or something. That way everybody can have cell reception, because that is the makings of a horror film, is to not have cell service. And and they also need to have very clear and present, instructions on if someone gets hurt in any capacity, what to do and where to go. And, you know, if someone is, you know, sexually assaulted or whatever, like, they need to be able to report it. And honestly, like, these things are so expensive. Like, it seems to me that, although David Bobke's MMA Chicks idea is wonderful, and I fully support him in that, I feel like if you get caught doing something, like, they should take your wristband. Like, you should get kicked out, because if you did, like, me and my friend were in Vegas this week, and the Hyde Bellagio was very nice and comped us a bottle, and the security was fantastic. Like, they were so good. And, you know, if anybody tried anything stupid, girls or guys, they kicked them out. They got sent on their merry way. So I don't think, like, if a club in Las Vegas can figure out how to handle the dumb drunkery, then I feel like Coachella can do it too. Oh, goodness. See, this is why I have such a hard time doing my show on my phone, because people call me and text me and they drive me crazy. Anyway, so that is, they need to step their game up. Like, the things that happened in Sweden, it pretty much kind of wrecked their music festival scene. And there's people that like to go to that stuff, and there's bands that want to book it, for sure. Like, it's a big economic, you know, think about festivals like Glastonbury and, like, the big ones. Like, those are, you know, big economy boosters for those, you know, for those areas. Like, it's a big moneymaker. Like, figure it out. Figure it out so people don't get hurt, at least as much. There needs to be consequences for this craziness. Speaking of consequences, I worked on the season 2 premiere episode of I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime, and when I went to go do my contract, I have this, like, stack of paperwork. They gave me a CBS, the CBS is non-discrimination and anti-harassment policy. This is new. This is a newly minted thing. They didn't used to do this. CBS is committed to a work environment in which all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. Each individual has the right to work in a professional atmosphere that promotes equal employment opportunities and prohibits discriminatory practices, including harassment. Therefore, CBS expects all relationships among persons in the workplace will be businesslike, free of bias, prejudice, and harassment. CBS, I will say, I've done a few shows with them over the years, and their standards and practices people are not out here playing games. When I did an episode of CSI New York a million years ago, and I was wearing this like leather dress and this blue wig. It was a look. It was actually really cool. But every day on that show, they would put new underwear on my wardrobe and be like, "Here you go, wear underpants today." And if we were wearing dresses or whatever, like a rep from Standards and Practices would be down in wardrobe, like literally measuring skirt length and all that. It was like being in middle school again, but with actual real lawyers. Like, it was crazy. And I was like, okay, this underwear thing is weird. I'm looking for a picture of you with blue hair. It's out there somewhere. It's like this blue bob. It's not like a Marge Simpson thing. It's out there. It was a look, because it was kind of weird to not look like myself. It was kind of like the time I did this pilot for Adult Swim years ago, where they covered me in tattoos, like Tinsley transfers, and I had neck tattoos, and I had tattoos literally everywhere. I had just come from South by Southwest that year, and I was making fun of all the girls in Austin with thigh tattoos. Guess who had thigh tattoos for 10 days from that show? It was ridiculous. It made me want to go to gas stations in the Valley and buy cigarettes. Like, it was an interesting character study. But, like, people would see me from a distance and be like, "Wow, that chick is, like, hardcore." All these tattoos everywhere. But then if I was, like, sitting in a restaurant, they'd be like, "This chick is covered in fake tattoos. Like, what is wrong with this girl?" So then it was embarrassing. But it was a good time. Anyway. The piece that I want to read in here, so there's a few different headings here. Equal employment opportunity, definitions of harassment. This is really important, and this is what Germany got in trouble with, is at the time, they did not have clear present language for what constitutes sexual harassment, sexual assault, rape, molest, etc., etc. Individuals and conduct covered. Retaliation is prohibited. Ooh, here's a good section. CBS prohibits retaliation against any individual who reports discrimination or harassment or participates in an investigation of such reports. Retaliation against an individual for reporting harassment or discrimination or for participating in an investigation of a claim of harassment or discrimination is a serious violation of this policy, and like harassment or discrimination itself, will be subjected to disciplinary action. Complaint procedure. I'll just show you this so you can see it. So there's the numbers and such to call CBS and the email to report incidents of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation. Responsive action. This is a very good section of this. Misconduct constituting harassment, discrimination, or retaliation will be dealt with promptly and appropriately. Responsive action may include, for example, training, referral to counseling, monitoring of the offender, or disciplinary action such as a warning, reprimand, withholding of a promotion or pay increase, reduction of wages, demotion, reassignment, temporary suspension without pay, or termination as CBS believes appropriate under the circumstances. March 2017. Again, CBS Standards and Practices is really on their game. I think they're more on their game than anybody. But people are commenting. It's like this, because there's a piece of paper doesn't make it any easier. But once this whole #MeToo thing started hitting people in the wallet, the studios and the networks, and just regular production companies, like they're hedging their legal bets, and they're trying to stay out of the way of exposing themselves to liability, which some people are really, really, really silly, and they expose themselves to incredible amounts of liability. But that's their choice to do that. But everybody else with the legal team seems to be hopping on the change your policies and change your legal language of how you're going to deal with such situations. Jelly wants to say hello. Come here, Jelly. I know. Pick it up. Jelly wants to say hello. She likes to be. Jelly likes to be on camera. That's what she likes to do. But she's so rotten. Do you hear the noises that come out of this thing? It's just ridiculous. Oh, now you don't want to be up here anymore. It's not as fun as you thought it was going to be. I didn't think so. She just wants to bug me. She doesn't actually want to sit up here and put in any effort. She just wants to be a smush face. That's it. Anyway. So, hopefully Coachella will get their act together, because it's one thing for Europe to be having these issues and not dealing... Yes, her name is Jelly Donut. Jelly Donut the pug. She's 22 pounds of pug. She's a full-figured woman. Hopefully these music festivals, i.e. Coachella, will get their situation together and put policies, not only policies, but staff and personnel in place and resources to deal with this situation, because this can't keep going on, because it's going to bomb their whole thing. And nobody wants that. Everybody loves Coachella. Like, people come from all over the place to go to that thing. It's nuts. It, like, takes over Southern California. It's a really, really big deal. And the artists like doing it. So, the name is escaping me, but there was a big music festival in the UK that bands were canceling. They're like, we're not going to play at this situation if people can't get it together. Oh, and I read another thing, too. Somebody had posted on Twitter today that, like, every single act that got up was essentially begging people to behave and be like, please don't assault each other and act like morons. Like, can we all just have a good time? And we like to collect our checks and go. So if bands start canceling, that's going to be bad news, and that's exactly what happened across the pond. So we're not too far off, if you ask me. But thanks for joining in here for #NoFilter Friday on Public House Media. If you are interested in podcasts, or if you're a podcast aficionado, we're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Google Play. And give us a share or comment or, some stars, a snowman, or some warm and fuzzy, whatever it is that you have. And check out other shows on Public House Media, like Coffee with Keith and Katie, Choose to Rise, Beauties and Headcanons. All those shows are, like, way more fun than my show. Those are all nice people talking about nice things, not really heavy crimes in most cases. So, see you later, kids. We will be back next week, but I'm going to be... next week, we talked about this a little bit last week. Next week, I might do a pre-recorded thing. I will find, if I can find that picture, I'm pretty sure it's on my Twitter, David Botke. If you want that picture of me with blue hair, it's just a picture of me in the hair trailer, because it was the year, one of my first hair guys that I ever had in LA, who was just incredible. He was the best. It was one of the years that it was right before he was about to retire. And that picture is on my Twitter, I know for sure. So if you go to my Twitter, which is at Rachel A. Mullins on Twitter, go through, like, my media, and if you scroll way, way, way back, I'm pretty sure you will find it. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. Thanks for coming by. See you later, kids.